We'd like to call the Wednesday, December 27th school board meeting to order. Are there any changes, additions to the minutes? I mean, to the agenda?
I don't believe so.
The
wanna see
change
that?
since you sent out the draft?
No.
Uh,
That's the agenda.
yeah. So,
They want it properly.
looks good to me, but Coach, you had some concerns?
It was the what appeared in the paper is different than what we have there.
The side margin, the left side margin that said 6 o'clock, said 5 o'clock.
Uh,
But the time, date and time of the warning at the top
being
was
6
correct.
o'clock.
Was accurate. Was accurate.
Yeah, okay. All right. So I'd like to move that we accept the agenda. The understanding being that this meeting is intended to provide those who did not get a chance to speak at our last regularly scheduled meeting because of technical difficulties, a chance to speak. And with that, I move that we approve the agenda.
I second him.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Actually, this was all of us, so moved.
Right.
It's a lot easier to get consent when
Right.
I think that's why those commissions that have the 3-member boards, like really get a lot of work done sometimes.
Now, I think 5 works well, but you get larger and it starts getting more and more difficult.
Well, imagine the school district in southern Vermont that had 58 board members.
How many sub-districts were there?
I forget how many schools and towns it was altogether, but there were 58 board members that superintendent was responsible to. Yeah, as I see Tom fall in his chair. He says 5's bad enough. No,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Woodstock had 32 when I was there. Cause there was
Wow.
6 towns, each town had 3. And then they had a union, high school, middle school board. That was 11 members.
God bless them, but I wouldn't serve on a board that big.
Yeah, it was hard. The high school board was way too big.
Mm.
And then they had a representative from each board on the supervisory union board who were technically, my boss. It was very hard to manage because the superintendent and I, all we did was prepare agendas and distribute meeting minutes and packets, and it was just
Mm.
a lot more bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And those were the days when, you didn't use email as much, so it was hard copies and mailings going out all the time.
Mm.
Mm.
And we think we have too much paper now.
So, according to the clock on the wall, it's 6:05, the time in which we said we would open public comment. Is there anybody on the line at the moment?
Just sharing.
Just Sherry. Just wanted to get that out there.
I think this is a good idea from now on, though, is if I have this view, where you can see. Perhaps
Right.
that gives a level of transparency.
Yeah.
You can see who's there and they raise their hand and.
So. we had a minor discussion on this before we hit the record button, but the intention of the meeting was to go for an hour, or until there were no more questions, whichever happened first. If we don't get any calls in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to propose that we adjourn.
Agreed.
I'm just gonna make one quick check and make sure that
What I've been
Yeah,
doing
maybe.
is checking my email to make sure there's not someone in cyberspace. But there isn't.
Mhm.
Got 3 devices going here.
yeah. Doing the same thing just to make sure. Nobody's jumping out of the cyber screens. Just went back in and double checked. School email, messages, and messenger.
I can't help but think that if we had announced that Sherry was going to cater this shindig, we might have had more people show up.
Yeah, that's usually, good for a full house. Feed them and they will come.
Now it is officially 6:10. We have no additional members of the public on the call. Having no commenters and therefore no comments to listen to, I move that we adjourn.
I second that.
So there's a motion on the floor for adjournment. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your time.
So once the recording